Okay, we're back on the MIC. Welcome, guys. Welcome, mums. I'm happy because today we have the amazing Bethany King.
Hi.
I'm excited about this because, well, as you guys know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm obsessed with your TikTok.
Stop it.
Obsessed with your TikTok. I'm obsessed with all the content you share about real estate, but not just that, mum stuff. You share a lot of mum stuff. You do a lot for moms, single moms. You've shared your story, which share it again.
So my story is I went from being a broke single mom living in my parents' basement to running a successful 7-figure business.
Come on.
7 figures now this past year.
Yes.
I have a beautiful husband and another baby on the way. So my mom journey has been a complete 180 from where I started.
Mm-hmm.
So I really resonate with like all the other moms out there. And I try to always share kind of my struggles and what I went through so that other people don't have to make the same mistakes that I did.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm happy because it's like you said, your journey has changed completely.
Yeah.
You started broke, not broke no more.
No.
We're talking about 7 figures now. Single mom, not single no more.
No.
Married.
Yeah.
Okay. You had one daughter, now you're gonna have
another.
2.
Yeah.
Increase all around. It's like you've completely just changed your life and upgraded your life in every way. It's inspirational because you know how many people, I guess, find themselves in those situations and are still there, can't get out, can't figure out how to escape from it. You did that. You're doing that. And you're helping mums to do it too.
Absolutely.
Because you're showing them how to get on the property ladder, and not just that, but also how to sell houses.
Yeah.
You teach them, right?
Yeah. On my page, like on TikTok, I started that, really as a way to kind of help others if they wanted to do real estate, because I found so much success in a short period of time. And I was like, oh my God, look at this thing I did. Like, you can do it too. And that's really how I started my page, without any intention of like getting clients or making money from it. And then it just really blew up.
Right.
And now it's been like a really key component in my business. It drives my business.
Of course.
Even like real estate, while we're trading, tens of millions of dollars of real estate every year, you wouldn't think that it's from people who meet me on TikTok.
Like, it sounds crazy, but it makes sense, because I think the reason why it's so relatable to people is because you're meeting them where they're at, and they're not feeling small or judged, and they're not feeling like it's so far out of reach that they can't achieve it.
Yeah.
Because I know personally for me, I mean, before I even had the mindset to buy a house or anything like that, I just had it in my mind that it was just unattainable.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not going to be able to.
Yeah.
It's just too hard.
Yeah.
It's just for a certain type of people. Like, people like me can't do that.
Yeah.
You have those preconceived notions. I don't know where they come from. But then you see someone like you on TikTok and you think, well, me and her are not too different.
Exactly. It's really daunting. It's really discouraging, when you want to buy a house, and we're looking at millennials, we're looking at Gen Zs, who are the generations with the highest student debt and the most repressed wages. And then we're watching the news where our average home price is over $1 million.
Crazy.
And then we have our boomer parents telling us, when I was your age, I bought a house.
You mean when bread was 20 cents?
Right?
You mean then?
When you bought the house for like $12 for $12.99?
This is it.
So it can be really, really daunting, especially as a single mom, when you have a single income. Because when you run the numbers, you have to really, be exceptional just to have the basic necessities in this where we live, right? Here in Toronto and in a lot of other places in the world.
How do you do that though? How do you get yourself into a position to be able to buy a house as a single mom with what was your income like?
So I went from working, I'll tell you the Reader's Digest version of my professional life. I went to school for fashion. I was part of the store planning team interning who brought Kleinfeld to Toronto. From there, I moved into licensing, then into buying. I left there. I was a chocolate buyer for Loblaws.
Really?
Yeah. Seasonal confectionery. Yeah, I would organize all the Easter and the Halloween chocolates in all the stores. And then I went into the government Service Canada, ESDC. So I had a long background working corporate, working professional, and having like an average Canadian income of around $60,000. That's really like the average income. And I remember, you know, when I was working all these jobs, my parents were so proud of me and they would brag on me like, oh, my daughter is so successful. Right. She's working in the government. She has a pension and benefits.
I mean, that's a flex kind of.
But the reality was I was so depressed and I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I might have been making $60,000 a year, but I was also $60,000 in debt.
Okay, there we go.
So
that'll do it.
Here I am, like every single day in and day out, busting my ass, and I'm looking at my daughter, who's a toddler, and she's just getting bigger, and our space where we're living just feels like it's getting smaller because she's getting bigger. And I realized I need to buy her a house. I need to buy a fucking house. How am I going to do that? Okay, I'm going to go get my real estate license.
Okay.
And out of desperation, I literally had nothing else to lose. And I left my day job and just went 100% into real estate. And within 6 months, I paid off all my debts and I saved up for a down payment.
Wow.
Yeah. It was insane. It was crazy. Focused. It was crazy. But I feel like for moms, you know, I can say, okay, this is the work that I've done. This is the money that I made, da 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 da. But through this whole journey, it's so much more than just the professional and financial side. I think there's like a mental, emotional side that takes a role, because a lot of moms, I feel like they get stuck in the same cycles over and over again. And it usually starts from, you know, giving birth or from your partner, right? From the child's father.
Yeah.
Depending on who your baby father is will really have will determine your trajectory, let's say, in your life, right? If you have a partner that's supporting you, or if you have a partner who's just mentally damaging you over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing that I've said on TikTok that has gone viral every single time I say it is to take your baby father to court.
But I like that. I like this. Elaborate.
You know, and in my situation, I didn't start the process. It was started like against me. And I was broke and I didn't get legal aid. I knew that this was way too important for me to be cheap and cut corners.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went to the bank and I took out a personal loan of like $10,000 and I hired a real lawyer, like a proper family lawyer. And that was the best money I ever spent in my whole life.
Why?
Because he pretty much took over everything, fought for all my rights, and then got me and then some. So if there was like a baseline where I was supposed to get X amount of dollars for child support, I was getting above that.
Okay.
If there was like a schedule that was the status quo for everybody else, I was getting more than that. I got sole custody immediately. I got all the passports. I got everything. So once that was implemented and we got our court order, all of a sudden there was no more stress. Like that part was done.
Yeah.
Right. And my daughter's life was like settled and our schedules were just put together. So because I had that in place, I was able to focus like in other areas of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that when I talk to other moms, that's usually the number one common problem that I see, is that there is no finalized court documents dictating what your co-parenting relationship is.
Yeah, you have to get your affairs in order because there are so many other things to kind of worry about that going back and forth with your you're supposed to be teammate is just not it shouldn't be on the list of things to worry about.
Exactly.
It just shouldn't.
No.
So once you get that together and you've kind of agreed with the court, this is what you have to give me, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing this, then you're able to focus on saving up for your down payment and doing all the other things that you need to do to get the house. And
when you go to get a mortgage, the lender, you provide that court order to the lender to show, okay, this is my child support payment. So if you have 3 kids, then it'll show that income is coming in to financially support those 3 kids.
Got it.
It happens so many times where I'll talk to moms and they're like, you know, Beth, I have 2 kids. I have 3 kids. Like, I'm in a 1 bedroom. I need space for these kids. And I'm like, okay, great. So if you have 3 kids, we need to get you a 4 bedroom house.
Yes.
So the numbers have to make sense.
It does.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, what is the child support? Oh, there isn't any.
No, this is not.
So how can you afford to give your children the life, like, and this is just the basic necessities of life, right? But I think that a lot of moms, like, we struggle with the mental and emotional damage that we've been through, and we're afraid to take those steps to protect ourselves and to fight for the things that are rightfully yours and your children's. And it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad
thing.
I
always preach, like, if he has children, it's fair that he financially supports them.
Yes.
And it's fair that he gets to see them on a set schedule, and that you get to have a break on a set schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to work for both parties, but you know, it has to be fair.
Exactly.
It has to be fair for both people involved. And I think, I don't know what it is that goes through a man's mind, like a man that would decide not to financially support. I'm not sure what would lead them to make that decision. Yeah. Can't speak on it. Not a man. But if I was a man, I would be paying. Right? I'd be giving the money. Yeah. But I mean, I can't speak on it. I'm not a man. I don't know what would lead them to make those decisions. But
we hear the story time and time again. If they can't come to that
conclusion themselves, you have to...
You got to boss up.
Let's go, buddy. Now, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense. So that was would you say the turning point for you?
That's what really sets me apart, I feel like, from a lot of other moms. When they look at me and they're like, oh my God, how were you able to achieve those things? I say, because I have a strong foundation. Yeah. Because I got that part done and taken out of the way. Yeah.
And it also sets you up for so much more, because, like, look at your life now. You're able to build upon it, get remarried and start all over, but you can't kind of walk into a new life when you've got that baggage.
Exactly.
When you've got that mess.
Yeah.
I want to call it mess. I know that might offend people, but when you've got that mess going on,
it's like, whether it's baby daddy drama or it's baby mama drama, having this court order in place is beneficial. Yeah. Not only for the mom, but also for the father as well. Yeah. So when dad moves on and finds a new woman, a new wife, whatever, and they ask about, okay, what's the deal with your kids and their mother, you can be like, yeah, this is the situation. Here you go.
And it's settled.
Yeah.
And then you can go into a new relationship with peace.
Yeah.
And it's also good for the children too, because it gives them some sort of a conclusion, like a final, this is what it is. And they don't have to witness back and forth and arguing. And, you know, just
my daughter has such like a delusional like view of life. And
I love that for her.
She brags about having 2 dads.
That's just amazing.
And she brags about having 3 grandmas and like several, like she has no clue how these things actually work, but she brags about it every day. Well, I have 2 dads.
But this is good, because that's what kids should experience. They shouldn't experience dysfunction. It should just be like healthy co-parenting situations that they get to be a part of. And I love that for her. This is what we need. And I think this is the reason why this is important, is because this is not something that people think of when they think of, how do I upgrade my life financially? How do I, you know, they don't think about all the other stuff, the family organization that has to take place in order for you to even make those steps personally or professionally. Like it all is intertwined.
Yeah.
And I know that because, like, you could be at work, and if your life's a mess, you're not even focused.
Exactly.
You can't even focus. You can't make any kind of strides.
No, and you have no faith or hope or optimism of your future, because you're constantly going through this like toxic cycle. Or what I see a lot is like these constant negotiations every single week, every single weekend.
Yeah.
And it's so draining.
Every holiday, every special occasion.
Yeah.
You just need something.
It's so much drama. And it's like waiting for, okay, like, is he going to pay child support this month? Is he not going to? You know, and it's with me and Eva's dad, I've always out-earned him. So I was never necessarily waiting on that paycheck, like that child support check. but it just settled everything. There was no more conversations. It was just done. See you at 6 p.m.
Yeah, this is it. Good.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be. You know what? Because this is the fact. If you want to be a boss babe at work, I mean, that term sounds so corny, but really, if that's what you want to be, you got to be that at home too.
Period.
You got to be that about. You got to be about it when it comes to the kids.
Yeah.
And everything around your life. Everything that's going on in your life, you need to be authoritative.
Yeah.
And you need to make decisions, executive decisions.
Yes.
About your life.
Yes.
Make it legal.
Yeah.
Make everything legal.
You know, I feel like
I love that.
Some of the moms I talk to, there's a lot of fear. If I take this step, what is going to happen? What is the like retaliation that I'm going to face? And that's where I start to see it. Like, as a lot of moms, we have the capabilities to be millionaires. We have the capabilities to run successful businesses. At home, we are multitasking masters.
Yeah.
We are the psychologist, the doctor, the chef, the everything, the coach.
Yes.
We are the taxi, the chauffeur, we're everything. So we're already doing it in our day-to-day lives. But when we look at like our professional, it's like, I don't know, like there's all these emotions and all this stress and all these nerves. But I think in order for me to be successful, the first thing that I established was that, and it was something that was brought on to me. I can't say that if it wasn't brought on to me, would I have taken that step? Honestly, I don't know. But I can say that it was probably the best thing that ever happened. So. I don't know.
Seems like your personality type.
At that time, I remember, because we split when my daughter was just a few months old.
Okay.
So I did not have any intention of pursuing anything through the courts.
Right. Okay.
And it just happened that he was really mad and wanted to be spiteful, and he pursued it. So it was just kind of forced onto me. I can't, I always, and I tell this to all the moms I talk to, honestly, I don't know if he didn't initiate it, like would I have? I can't say 100%, but going through that, which was, and it's a stressful time to go through that. It probably the lowest time in my life. After coming out of it, it changed my life tenfold.
And now it's like it happens for a reason, because now this is something you can advise other women and other moms to go ahead and do. Like get it sorted, get it done. And that's the beginning of the rest. Now we can build, now we can grow. Yeah. And we can flourish.
Exactly.
This is great. And so how long after that did you go ahead and get your license?
It was maybe like, I don't even remember, maybe a year or two. That whole time in my life just feels like such a blur. This whole like transitionary time where I went from like being in the red to like changing my whole life around and realizing like there's so much more to life, even though it sounds so corny. But you go from having like major postpartum depression, going through a custody battle, dealing with lawyers and courts and all that stuff. And then you come out of it a year later, 2 years later, you're living debt free. You have money in the bank, your daughter's thriving, your life is progressing. I went from, like, to give you perspective, I went from getting a tax return that was 5 figures to the next following year having to pay taxes in the 5 figures. Yeah. I think my first tax bill was like $60,000 I had to pay.
My God.
And then the year before that.
Your first one.
Yeah, like the year before that, I got like 10 G's back. Yeah. So I'm like looking forward to tax time. I'm like, woo, I'm going to get my taxes. And then
you realized, like, hold on a minute.
I was like, what is this? I'm like, I'm a mom. I'm a single mom still.
I honestly miss tax returns. I miss tax returns so bad.
So much.
So bad. This is what they don't tell you about getting into a new tax bracket. It's not fun
This
anymore.
is what they don't fucking tell you.
It's not exciting.
Emotional damage. Like,
tax season used to be a ball. What do you mean?
Right? I was planning trips, going shopping. Now it's a stressful time.
Yeah. And it low-key stresses me, because sometimes I'm like, these taxes are going to public services that are low-key just not doing it for me right now.
Girl. Don't get me all riled up.
I don't even want to start. But if I speak, the people will be mad. But if I talk, the people will be mad. But those public services, I'm sorry, but this can't be where my money's going.
No. No.
This can't be what you guys are
very
using
ghetto.
it for. Because
this is very ghetto.
Because what is this? A mess. That's what it is.
Totally.
So we're in a new tax bracket. This took a year.
Literally, it took a year of me doing real estate to completely change my life. And like, this is not to tell everybody else to be an agent, because it might not be, like, sales might not be for everybody. But I think it's important for moms to understand that you can curate your life around being a mom.
Yes.
Right? Like, motherhood is not hard. It's just hard in a society who doesn't value mothers. Right? So you can, I feel like now, and I was working the other day and having a consultation, but just talking a lot about, you know, my life and my brand. And I've really curated this beautiful life around who I am at the core of being a mom.
Yes.
When I was working in fashion, I remember my daughter was in daycare, and the daycare called me and they're like, oh, your daughter has a fever. She's breaking out in hives. I need you to come and get her. And then I remember having to go to my manager, my superior, and having to ask them, can I leave?
Oh, I hate that.
Because my daughter is sick. And they're like, oh, after you do this. Oh. And like, from that moment, it was like, okay, something's got to change here. Yeah. I will never put myself in a position where I have to ask for permission to go and be with my child when my child needs me.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
I feel you on that. I don't like those types of things. I don't like that. Those type of environments make me feel gross. It's
unnatural.
It's unnatural. I feel like it should just be like, did you hear what I said? I said my daughter has a fever. I've got to what do you mean go. After you've done this and this? Like, that's crazy to me. And I think when I was pregnant with my daughter too, I had to have a complete mindset change about like how I wanted my world to look. You know, I was already a business owner when I was pregnant with her, but we had an office and the whole team, we would go into the office and we would work. And I just decided when I was like 7 months that I just don't want to do this journey every day. Like going into the office and back, I'm just not going to do it. And not just because I'm big pregnant, but I was thinking about like when she's born, what is this going to mean for me? The commute.
And being that far.
And then it's like, I have to now figure out all these other things just to make it possible for me to be somewhere else. And then I just said no, like, and I had to restructure everything, and we became a remote team. It just worked better for me. It's like, I want to work from home. I want to do it this way. I want to do it that way. But being in a position where I can restructure my life to where it works for me and my family and my needs and my desires and my child was like a great blessing. I think that came from running my own business and not necessarily being, you know, in a environment where it's like I have to ask. Can I go home? Because I need to I don't like that.
No, it's not natural. And when your kids are like taken care of, and then you can thrive.
Yeah.
But if your kids are not well, how are you going to be well as a mom?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that flexibility is very important for moms. And so like, even for you, just building a career for yourself that allowed you to parent the way you wanted to parent is important. And I think what we do sometimes, this is the mistake I think a lot of not just mothers but people make, is we pick our job and then we're stuck with whatever lifestyle that job allows us to have. Yeah. So I've decided I want to be a nurse or whatever. Then I'm stuck with the hours that nurses have to work, the time off that nurses get, the pay that nurses are allowed. I have to live a nurse life. Yeah. You know, but what we should really do is pick the lifestyle first and then choose a career that allows us to have that lifestyle. Yeah. So it's like, I want the type of lifestyle where I can start work at this time, finish work at this time, have these days off. This is how I want to live. I want to, you know, I want to live in this type of a city. I want to live around these type of people. And then I pick a job that will allow me to have that. Mum's got to think that way. Yeah. Because we don't have time to fight with the system or fight with the man. No. About the things we need for our kids. Yeah. Because not every workplace and not every industry is compassionate. No. And you have to do exactly that, but think of it also in the big picture. Yes. So one of my girlfriends, Nicole, she's No Budget Babe on TikTok, and she was a self-made millionaire before turning 30, and she has 3 boys. She's married. And
I talk to her a lot, and she does my financial planning, and she says, what's your dream life? I want you to tell me what your dream life is, right? When do you want to retire? How much money do you want to have?
This is it.
You know, what does your house look like? How many houses do you want to have? Right? How much, like, what do you want to do with your day every day?
This is it. This is
right?
Lifestyle
and then
design.
You work it back from there.
Correct.
And this is huge for moms, especially when we're talking about real estate and housing. This is like what I do all day long, because the house that fits you and your toddler is not going to be the house that fits you and your teenager. So you have to think about these things in the long term. And like you said, you have to think about your lifestyle and then curate around that.
Yes. I love that. It's the personalization as well. Your approach to real estate that I love. Like when you're working with moms and talking to them about their family and what they need for their family. It's taking it away from just, oh, you need a house.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you need an investment. Like this is, I don't know, some of these realtors, it's just a numbers thing.
Yeah.
But you personalize the experience, and it's more, I don't want to say more emotional, because that's kind of minimizing what it is, but it's personal.
Yeah.
And it's tailored to the person and their lifestyle. That is what I think makes the way you do what you do special.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Thinking ahead of like when your daughter is 17, this is what she's going to need, or this is what you're going to need, or this is the space you're going to need.
Yeah.
This is what we're thinking ahead towards. This is it. You're thinking about providing homes, not just houses.
Because I can forecast what's going to happen with the kids. Like I have a client who has this other girl. She also had 3 small boys. So immediately it's like, okay, you need to upgrade your house from a townhouse, and we need to get you in the biggest house possible. Personally, I'm not going to prioritize your desire for your kitchen countertops, because that's not important. What's important is probably getting you a house with a yard, because you're going to have 3 rambunctious boys, and probably a house with at least a 2-car garage and 4 parking, because eventually they're going to start driving. And then on top of that, if we can have a basement that might be converted to a basement apartment down the line when they get older, that's going to be huge value. That's what you, Mr. Buyer, Miss Man Buyer, that's what you need to be worried about. Not being worried about like having the backsplash that you want or the foyer that you want. You know, I have a client right now who's a single father, and he has his daughter every other weekend, and he's buying a condo, and he wanted like a sexy bachelor pad. Right? Downtown Toronto, like, oh, I wanted just a 1-bed plus den, maybe like something new, something where everything is happening.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you're going to get the 2-bedroom just outside of the city. Okay. Because you need to have a whole bedroom. Your daughter's 4 years old. She needs to have her own space when she comes over. Okay. I don't care about having a sexy bachelor. This is what you need, whether you want it or not. So a lot of my clients, and like most of my clients, are Black as well. So they're okay if I talk to them in that way. They're not going to like be offended. But that's really important, is understanding family dynamics, especially in my work when it comes to real estate.
Exactly. Isn't it nice though as well, working with your people, like working with Black people? Isn't it nice? Yeah. Because you feel like you can kind of just be yourself a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I told them like, stop being so light skinned. Okay. Because they need to hear it.
Yeah. And it's like you can relate. They can relate. And it's just like representation. I think that's what's important too, because nobody really wants to hand over such a big part of their personal life to someone who they don't think really gets me.
Exactly.
Like, you don't really get me.
Yeah. And the fact that I've shared so many of my struggles online has brought so many clients to me.
Of course, yeah.
Because they see, okay, she's going through, or she went through what I'm going through. So she understands, right? So they can come to me and they don't have to give me the explanation. It's like, I already know. I got you.
Yeah.
And I have clients who are like in tears, and they'll be like, yeah, you know, this is what's happening. And they start to just kind of go silent because they're like really emotional. And it's like, don't worry, girl, I got you. I already know. I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what else I love as well? It's like you share your home life. And that's important, because people are not just trying to buy houses. They want homes.
Yeah.
And I think you sharing, it's like you don't want to buy from someone who doesn't have what they're selling.
Yeah, exactly.
and you show that you have like not just a house, a home that is full of love, and that's what they want, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is not just aspirational, but it's inspirational too, because there are going to be women, mothers who are, and men too, who are in the position that you were in 8 years ago.
And majority of people are, let's face it, majority of people are making that, you know, average income, which barely affords you the basic necessities of life. Now that we're dealing with this inflation, you know, now that all of these things that have happened, and even our healthcare, but don't get me going. Don't get me all riled. But that's majority of people. There's very few people that are just fine in this market, who are making enough money, who are not complaining about grocery prices. Right. So in my work, I find that a lot of my colleagues really, you know, show their lives and their brand as like this beautiful, aesthetic, gorgeous, everything is perfect. I never stubbed my toe ever in my whole life. But then nobody resonates with you. Yeah. Nobody likes that.
They make it seem unattainable, inaccessible, because, you know, I'm like, my life is not like that. I don't think it could ever be like that. No. So you just don't feel connected.
Yeah, and you don't trust them.
Yes.
Like, I don't trust you. Like, you're lying.
And you, I love, one thing I also love about your TikTok, you ruffle feathers, okay?
Yeah.
You get the girls going.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. How does that feel? Like, sometimes when you post something, do you know when it's about to set people off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do people get so offended?
When it comes to real estate, it is a very touchy subject online. A lot of people feel cheated. They feel like what's happening to them is not fair. And they're angry about it. And it's easier to take it out on the real estate agent than to understand like the institution behind it. And a lot, you know, of what I've said in the past, and I always say is like, I don't get hate from Black people, right? It's always like my non-Black people. And
it's hot.
It's ironic when you've had all this privilege and you've had all this opportunity and you've had all these doors open for you, and you still are trash.
Ooh. I mean,
because the Black girls are not sitting around, you know, making trolling accounts complaining that they can't buy a house and it's not fair for foreign investors. Like, we face real oppression and we have real problems.
Yeah. It's always it's always the xenophobia. This is where we go. This is where they take it.
Yeah. Period.
Why is it that always?
You know, and then but if you're an ally, then you're not offended if I talk about racism and stuff like that. But I do talk a lot about just like institutional racism that we see in real estate, money trauma that Black people have.
Yes.
And it is very triggering to some people, because when you start to dismantle a system that has benefited them, then it starts to ruffle them, because they don't want to take a responsibility and accept that they have benefited from a system that has oppressed other people.
Yeah. And it's like they can't even bring themselves to admit that.
So they're just like, fuck you, you're a bitch.
And I see it too, and I'm just like, gosh, relax, Brenda. Goodness me, Sally, calm down. It's like, it's not that deep. If you don't agree, you can scroll, you know.
You know, and I've had even some of my older colleagues who look at me and they feel like it's not fair that I found so much success at such a young, I mean, in real estate, I'm young, a young age, or at a young point in my career as well. But I'm supported by my people.
Yeah. And you're taking a different approach to it. Like, you're not doing it the typical way. I mean, I don't have an issue with it, but you know, the old way that I've been used to seeing is just seeing the posters on the back of the bench.
Yeah.
At the bus stop.
Yeah.
Which is like one way of advertising yourself, but you decided that you was going to do it a different way and use TikTok or use social media. And that's like,
I wasn't going to
hate the player, hate the game.
I wasn't going to plaster my face on a garbage can. Sorry, like that doesn't work, clearly.
Yeah. So you said, I'm just going to do it a different way. And I think it's the, I guess, the racism stuff, which is important to talk about, because that plays a big part in everything. And that is part of the reason why there is so much inequality in housing that it has to be discussed. Yeah. But it's not even just them. I see the renters get upset as well.
Oh yeah.
When you talk about that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why.
It's just part of it. I've accepted it. You know, going through these changes in my life, and as I continue to upgrade, and every year is different than the last, I've learned this important lesson, and I want to give this lesson to any mom out there as well. As you're going through these transformations and you're changing and you're upgrading your life and you reach new levels, there's new devils.
That's it.
New levels, there's new devils.
Yeah, my pastor used to say that all the time. It's true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it comes with the territory. It's part of it. It's part of the game. I love that you don't take it to heart. It's just, you just take it on the chin. Yeah. And you keep it pressing. I love that for you. I think that's the way it should be approached and looked at anyway. And we can't let negativity online stop us from promoting or advertising ourselves. We're trying to run a business. Yeah. So we can't let these things.
We can't let anything, like whether it's your job, whether it's your co-parent,
this is it.
It's like you have to kind of push through. With every time that you upgrade, you're going to have an equal resistance. Yeah. So you have to keep pushing through that.
Did you find anyone try to discourage you when you started this journey?
Oh my God, all the time.
Really?
All the time. Even to this day, all the time. But it's not Black people.
This is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's
even at this state, even now, with all the awards, everything, everything you've achieved, there are still people telling you should hang it up.
Yeah, totally. What? Aggressively.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah, but you know,
what could be the reason behind that?
Just demons.
Jealousy.
Just that's what I'm saying. There's new levels, new devils. Yeah. Right. There's people who look at me and they feel like it's unfair, like that I have the followers that I have, and they feel like, you know, maybe I'm stealing business from them because I reach a wider audience. And again, like, you have to understand the average demographic of real estate agents is a 48-year-old middle-aged like white man or white woman. So I come into the scene and they're like, who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is TikTok? That doesn't work. Yeah. And then when they see me getting awards, it's like, that's not fair. Yeah. She didn't have to do what I had to do. She didn't have to struggle the way that I had to struggle. But little do they know.
You had your own struggle.
Little do they know. I am a millennial who has now lived through 3 economic collapses.
There we go. So they can stay mad.
Settle down, Barb. Settle down.
This is it. And I just think that is the right approach, because honestly, you can look at someone and be like, oh, they didn't have to go through what I went through, blah, blah, blah. I've been paying my dues. But, you know, you don't know what they went through.
Exactly.
You don't know what they had to overcome to get to this place.
The life experience that I bring to the table is nothing like what a Gen Xer could ever understand. And I work with my people and my generation, and I work with older generations too, and they're always Black or they're different kinds of minorities as well. Because they understand that they can trust me and I'm not going to screw them over. Yes. There's a lot of like crazy stuff that happens in my industry as well, where people are looking for somebody that they can trust. And I'm that person.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And what about maternity leave? What's that going to look like?
None.
I did that with my daughter. When I had my daughter, I didn't take any time off.
So how long after giving birth did you start work?
Here's what I did actually. I hired people to take on some of my workload. So I had a team. I didn't do everything, but I was still, I don't know, it's very difficult to switch off the CEO brain, because I'm still like checking things and making sure that everything, and everyone knows what they're supposed to do. The whole team's been prepped. Everybody knows what work they're taking on. I've offloaded everything. I've delegated everything, and I'm still like checking and emailing. And it was so hard for me to just be like, Patrice, you don't have to do this. Like, this is your time off. I couldn't. It's like I worked right up until she was born. Yeah. And then I remember the day after she was born, I had a webinar. I wasn't teaching it. I had a lady teaching it for me, but I was trying to log on with the hospital and I'm trying to log on to see the webinar. Like, I wanted to see that it's going smoothly, And I just remember thinking to myself, "Jeez, it's not that deep. Like, you don't have to be doing
It's not that serious.
It's not that.
It was never that serious.
It never was. Was that serious?
It never was that serious.
And I'm trying to log on to see the webinar. I didn't actually get onto it because I had all this other stuff. You know, they come around to check the baby's ears and check the. You know, I just had to tune out and just get into mum zone. But you know, I had only been a mum for a day. Like, I didn't know what I was doing yet.
Yeah.
I'm new. I was new here. So I had to get into mum zone, and I had to take on like a whole new job, a whole new identity, a whole new role. And I had to just it took me a while to adjust to the fact that, because you know, when, I don't know, you're a business owner, and that's what I was. That was like my life.
Yeah.
My business was literally my life. I didn't have kids. It was just me. And
that was your baby.
Job.
That was your baby, your first baby.
Yeah, I would work 16, 17-hour days sometimes.
Wow.
I would go from event to event, to shoot to event. I was doing all types of stuff. I'd go from a meeting to another meeting. Like, that was my life. That was my whole life.
Wow.
And so when I had her, part of the reason why I started Mums in Control in the first place is because I was just like, how am I going to run a business and be a mum? Yeah. I didn't feel like it was possible. And I was like, I need to surround myself with women who have done this before, because I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. And I need to make sure that I can still maintain my business and be a great mum. Thankfully, I have an amazing husband. Like, he's a great partner. And like you said, who you have a child with, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And he took paternity leave, and he was supporting me, and he was helping me figure everything out. And after a while, I got into the zone. So I didn't take my maternity leave straight away. It took me about 4 months or so to wean off of work.
Okay.
It took me a while to kind of wean off. I wasn't actually doing the physical work. I was just checking in all the time.
Yeah, mentally.
Yeah, mentally had to disconnect and just get straight into mum zone, like, and just be fully immersed in it. But the main thing is having a good team, prepping them for your disappearance. Yeah. And mentally preparing yourself as well to disconnect. I feel like I can do it this time. I'm not connected like that to my work anymore. Yeah. After being a mum for nearly 4 years now, I feel like my daughter is now, she's my number one priority. Yeah. Work, I do it because I enjoy it. I'm good at it, and it's my income. Yeah. But my child, that's everything. Yeah. So when I have this second baby, you won't have to ask me twice to leave work.
Like, bye.
I've already started checking out. Yeah. 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 So for me personally, I'm cool with it. I trust my team. I'm prepared to just disconnect. Yeah. You won't be able to reach me. You won't be able to reach me. Where are you at mentally with that?
Yeah, you know, I have a team around me. I train agents, and they work alongside me. So I have solid support systems in place. And then I also have backups, and then I have backups to the backups. Yes. So I think it's so important, like you said, to have a team. And I'm really close with the people that I work with, whether it's my mortgage people, my lawyer, you know, my management at my office, the agents that I work with. I build a really close connection with them, and I make sure that they're well paid as well. So that when I have moments, they're like, no problem. I got you. Yeah. Like, I remember, a couple of years ago, I had surgery. It was fine. It was a cosmetic surgery, but I wanted 2 weeks off. And during that 2 weeks, there was all these things happening, but the team was like, do not call Beth. Yes. She's busy. She's recovering. I got this. I'm taking care of that. And they were all working together to like give me peace, because they know that when I am working, I take care of everything. Yeah. So this time, like with my daughter, I was working a day job, so I had mat leave. So I did a lot of sitting around, shopping, staring at the baby. Yeah. You know, being in my thoughts. Yeah. So now that I work for myself, you know, my days are very different, and it's a luxury and a blessing that in my work, I can make a year's salary in, 3 months or in 6 months, and then take the time off if I want to. And then I just kind of spread the wealth with other agents who are new, and I train them up and I give them an opportunity to create wealth themselves. So it's good. It's going to be a different experience this time, I think. And then of course I have my beautiful husband as well.
There we go.
Who takes care of me
Major
and does
key.
absolutely everything for
Major
me.
Key.
I was telling him this morning that this baby inside of me lives like such a luxury lifestyle because whatever she wants, he's like makes it happen.
There we go.
So
this is what we need.
A lot more support this time around.
That's it. Support.
Yeah.
I can't stress this enough. This is why I'm very, very big on choosing your partners wisely. And I'm so big on marriage too.
It's hard though, girl. It's hard. Like
having a baby, a baby it's a 2-parent job. Like one parent, it's just not enough parents.
It's not natural. It was never meant to just be for one person. No. It was meant for 2 people.
Yes.
It's literally like against like God, and I'm not super religious, but like God didn't make it so that one person can have a kid. He made it like 2. You're meant to have 2 people there.
Yeah, it's important because it's hard. Someone's got to you got to divide the labor. Like
it is hard, but then also what I find as well, which is if you look on the opposite side, a lot of women are waiting so long to have kids.
Yes.
Because they are looking and searching for that perfect person. And like nobody is perfect.
No one's perfect.
And so it's almost like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Yeah. You're damned if you do and you have a baby early enough, but with the wrong person. But if you have a baby early enough, you'll have a successful, stress-free pregnancy.
Yeah.
Right? From a health perspective.
Yes.
Or you wait too long searching for that perfect person, waiting to have that perfect wedding and then to have those kids. And then before you know it, you have a geriatric pregnancy and you're faced with a whole nother multitude of complications. And then you have a baby, let's say in your late 30s, and you're picking them up from Little League when you're like 50 years old.
Child.
So...
It's true. No, you see, the thing is, I know it's not you. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. And it's you can't wait around for the rest of your life looking for the perfect person. I know that much.
Yeah.
But you do know when a man is not fit to be a father.
Yes.
That part, that much you know.
Yes, that's true.
Don't have kids with him.
Yes. And I know exactly what you mean. Avoid that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avoid that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not
Don't have a baby thinking it's going to change that person.
Because it will not.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if your relationship is bad already, don't think that having a baby is going to make it, is going to fix it.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right, Krishan?
There we go.
Right, Krishan and Blueface? Like...
They need to break up now.
Jeez.
They're not ready for this. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, these are the things that I think we need to pump the brakes. And I think even if it is if you feel like you're getting old, I hate that because 35 is so young, but that's the geriatric age, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
Oh, geriatric sounds so extreme. But if you do feel like you're approaching it and you're like, I don't know if I can continue waiting, don't just run to the first man that's willing to, with his dirty fingernails, and he doesn't even have a bed in his house. Don't do that to yourself. No. This is the problem.
That's why think of that lifestyle, like you said.
There we go.
Think of that lifestyle. Okay, this is the end goal. This is what I want. Is this the right piece of the puzzle? Yeah. But also, it's like, try your best, but don't beat yourself up. And if you had the baby early on and it didn't work out because that guy did a complete 180, that's okay too. You know, that's okay too. You can get the court order in place and you can move on peacefully with your life.
This is it. Because I know women who picked the wrong one, but they made it work.
Yeah.
You turned it all around.
Turn it all around.
And you can do that.
Yeah.
But if you can avoid it, like if you don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
Hear me now. Pick a good one.
Pick a good one. Try your best.
Because the support makes so much difference. Like once you have that baby, there are so many things that are not even tangible that you can't even foresee. The emotional toil. Yeah. The emotional labor, the hormones. You will find yourself 3 days after having a baby crying for no reason.
No.
Just crying. You're just in tears. There's nothing wrong. Nothing's happened. You're just crying on the toilet.
I cried this morning.
For no reason.
No reason. Just had to let it out.
No reason. I watched a commercial the other day. It wasn't even an emotional one. I think it was a car ad. Something silly. And I'm welling up, like crying at the ad.
Yeah.
Bring tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
What the hell?
You're going to cry right now.
The hormones,
it
will do it to you. And if you just need to make sure that you have like a good support system. Like I have a friend, breaks my heart, but like she had to, really deal with her partner's being cruel to her after having a baby. You're not a good mom. You're this. You're negativity like over your life that could break you down to where you won't even see a way out of or a future for yourself. Your self-esteem is so low after being in a situation like that for such a long time. And then you just start to think to yourself, well, I've had a kid now, no one's going to want me anymore, or I can't achieve this. So you just start to really feel worthless. And I think it seems like such a small thing, but it's the biggest thing ever, just picking the right man.
And not only do you start to like beat yourself up, but how old is your daughter?
She's 3.5.
She's 3.5. So my daughter's 8 years old. So when they start to get to 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, especially if you have girls, even if you have boys, then forget the emotional damage that it's done to you, because that's when you're going to start to see it in the kids.
Yeah.
My daughter will have her girlfriends over, because I let her have all of her friends over all the time, because I'm usually the mom that has the biggest house. So it's like, just bring them over, drop them off. I'll order pizza. And it's very easy to see in the little girls who has a supportive, stable home and who doesn't, right? Like they'll come over and they'll ask questions like, why do you have this big house and we live in a basement, right? Why? Or they'll ask my husband, like, how much money do you make? What do you do? And when they start to get to this age, you start to see the effects that it's taken on the child, because mentally the development that's critical is from like, I think 4, 5, 6, 7, in and around that time.
Yeah.
That's going to shape the child. And regardless of, I feel like as moms and dads, we think that we're doing such a good job at shielding our kids from all these bad things, but they are always listening.
Yeah.
We might tell them to go out of the room and close the door, and they're standing right at the door listening because they want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to think about the long-term effects. If you let this man abuse you, if you let him speak terribly to you, then that child is going to grow up and allow another man to do that to them.
Yeah.
So I always have, like, when I had my daughter, I found that I had a set of standards for myself, and then I had a set of standards for her. And the standards that I had for her way surpassed anything that I had for myself.
And then it's like a mirror. It makes you examine yourself. Like, I wouldn't allow this for her, so why am I allowing this
exactly
for me?
That's what you have to start thinking about, because once you realize that it has affected them, it's too late.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. And they absorb everything. They take everything. Even my daughter, she's 3.5, but even still I can see that she understands things. Like the other day, my husband and I were having a heated discussion about something on the TV. We weren't arguing, but something happened on television. We had two different like opinions about it. We were really going in about this show. Like, I wasn't mad at him, he wasn't mad at me, but our voices were elevated tones and we were passionate, like talking about this show. And my daughter, she comes in, she goes, Daddy, how about you go in that room, and Mummy, how about you go and make a tea? She's like trying to diffuse the situation. I'm like, oh baby, we're not arguing. But she thought like we were having like a real beef. Like she thought this was beef and she was just trying to split us up. Daddy, how about you go? And I just thought to myself, oh, that's sad, because some kids are actually living in houses where their parents are actually fighting all the time. And they actually do have to deal with this. That made me sad for other kids. But then also I thought, like, what does she think does she think we're Christian?
Literally. Yeah.
But yeah, she wanted me out of the room. She said, Mommy, go make a tea. Daddy, how about you go in the other room?
She's going to go in the other room and like call the police on you.
She was panicked because she thought, oh my God, is this it? Are they going to divorce? Is this the end? Like, this is what she's thinking. Because they take it in and they observe, and they can my daughter, she can also see like the way I talk to myself and the way I respond to myself when I'm getting dressed and when I'm putting on different outfits, or if I don't like how the outfit looks, she can see how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm conscious that I don't want to put any of my issues
mm-hmm.
on her, because I know she can see me. Like if I put on something, I'm like, oh, it just doesn't look right. I know she can see it, because she will come in the room and she'll be like, Mama, you look like a princess.
Aww.
And why don't you wear the last one? I like the last one. You didn't like it? And she can tell.
Aww.
She can tell. So I'm just like, listen, I don't want you to ever grow up and start thinking negatively about your own self, your own body, your own outfits.
I think about that all the time.
You do?
Because after my daughter, I had a mommy makeover.
Okay.
So I literally had surgery. So my daughter was so small, she didn't really understand, but she knew that I had surgery, but I was fine.
Yeah.
And then if I'm changing, because I don't know about you, but I'm a naked mom. I'm like, yeah. So my daughter will see, and she'll like see like my scars. So I always kind of beat myself up about that. And I'm like so scared of the day when my daughter comes and like wants to have her boobs done or something, and she'll be like, well, you did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then what can you say?
Right? Because you want to set that example, and like they're literally watching in the moment. You might think, oh no, like it's no big deal. She doesn't know what's going on. Like I can put on a brave face, but they literally are watching every single thing.
Everything.
And it's they can tell. Like they're going to use it against you.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter, I had a breast reduction. You know that. I told you this. She knows my boobs. Every child knows their mom's boobs, right?
Yeah.
When you're that age, she knows them. So she saw them afterwards, and she just realized that they were different.
Yeah.
That's all. She just kind of noticed that they were different, and she was looking at them, and she goes, because she could see the scars, and she thought I hurt myself. She goes, oh, is it hurting? Do you need a bandage?
Oh,
I'm like, no, this is just how they look now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm cool with having that conversation with her. I had to do it, girl. It was too big.
Yeah.
It was too big. My back was hurting. But I don't know how I would explain anything else.
I know. It's difficult. So you kind of start
Would you do it again? Would you go again?
No, I told myself like I'm done because I've had like a couple things done over the years, and since my daughter started to get old enough and started to like ask questions and say things, I was like, oh shit. Like I need to start living and being that example, not just do what I say and not as I do. I need to lead by example. And now I'm like, no, I'm going to work out. I'm going to be all healthy. You know, maybe one day I might even get my augments like removed, you know, because I really want to set a good example. And I would never, ever want her to feel like she needs to do cosmetic surgery to feel comfortable in her body. Yeah. It's like, you have such a beautiful body. I made it. No.
This is it.
Right?
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I grew up hating my neck, right? I didn't actually have a problem.
No, you never told me that.
I didn't have an issue with my neck, but I have a rolly neck.
Okay.
You can see I got like lines on my neck. I've always
had I have lines too.
Yeah, but I've always had a rolly neck. This is not age. This is I was born with a rolly neck, right? Okay. But I didn't think there was a problem with that. My dad has a rolly neck. Yeah. There are people in my family with rolly necks. It's genetic, right? So I didn't think it was a problem. But when I went to school, there was a girl who made fun of me for it. And she's like, you got neck rolls. You've got neck rolls. And I don't know. That was like a new insecurity unlocked. All of us, I know.
What a fucking bitch.
Hated her. She even had the same crush on all the same boys I had a crush.
I hope she's doing terrible in life today.
No, she unlocked that insecurity, and then all of a sudden I just thought there was just something wrong with me, like with my neck. For my whole life I just did not like it. Out comes this perfect baby that I give birth to, has the same neck as me, the exact same neck that I've got, she's got. Can't hate my neck anymore. I'm not allowed.
No.
I can't hate my neck anymore. I am not allowed. My daughter has the same neck, and she has the cute. It's cute.
She looks cute.
Adorable. She's cute. She's perfect. There's nothing wrong with her, and there's nothing wrong with her neck, and therefore there's nothing wrong with mine, because it's the same one.
Period.
And that changed my perspective immediately. Anything I didn't like about myself, I like it now because she's got it too.
Yeah.
And that's it. Period. But then with her, as much as I want to lead by example, I'm still human. There are gonna be things that I make mistakes on. And so I can't beat myself up about the fact that I'm just not a perfect example. I'm really not. And I'm gonna be real with her. Like, you're only allowed to have one chocolate. Yes, I had 4. Yes, I did have 4. And I'm not supposed to have 4.
There's no playbook.
Shouldn't have had it.
There's no playbook to parenting.
There isn't. You just have to
You're
kind of
just
feel
like
it
raw
out.
dogging it every day.
This is it.
You
this
know?
is it.
It's like
you just have to do your best and be honest. Be honest with your kids. I feel like just being honest and being open, transparent.
Yeah.
Like just being real about it helps. Because there are things that my mom, like my parents, they would do and they would think I didn't notice it. But I noticed it. Yeah. That causes more complications for me mentally than if they were just to be honest.
Yeah. Right. And our kids already know, no matter what we tell them, no matter what lies we tell them.
They know.
They know what's going on.
Right. So don't try and like brush over it or skirt over it or whatever. Do as I say.
Thinking that like you're shielding them because you're not.
Because you're not.
If anything, you're breaking trust.
This is it.
Yeah.
And I think that makes them skeptical of you and everything you say now, because they're like, well, you say this but you don't do this, and I know you don't do this, even though you try to act like blah blah blah. Just be open. I think maybe is the only way that we can kind of like, that's how I cope. That's how I do this, because I know that I'm imperfect. There are things I don't want her to do that I do, and she sees me do it.
I tell my daughter all the time, I say, mommy is not perfect. You know, like we had a conversation last night because my daughter does coding and she's passing this new level and it's getting more difficult and she doesn't want to do it anymore. And I'm sitting down with her and she's like crying because she's just frustrated and doesn't even want to have a conversation. She just wants to quit, you know, and I'm trying to inspire her and I'm trying to tell her how special she is and how precious she is and how, you know, and I'm telling her about all the things that she's accomplished already in her short little life and how she's destined for greatness. And like, after talking to her for a little while, the tears start to dry up and she starts to get a little bit better. And then I have to tell her, you know, I'm sorry I'm putting so much pressure on you, because I told her I want you to get your orange belt, like, you know, and she's, I think, like 7 codes away from getting that belt. And she's like, you put so much pressure on me. And I'm like, you know, I just know that you're destined for greatness. And I know that you can do this. And I know that whatever you decide, when you put your mind to it, you can achieve it. And I know that you're meant to be better than like everybody else that you know. And, period. You know, so after a while, she's like, okay. And she's getting motivated. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm so tough on you. You know, it comes from a good place and it's because I love you. And when I was your age, I did not even have a computer. I would go and play with the ants in the backyard. I was like a freaking loser, like had nothing going on. But already at your age, you've accomplished so much more than I ever did at my age, you know? And then she's like, okay. I'm like, mommy's not perfect. I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? And she's like, yeah.
That's it. It's the recovery. It's the conversations afterwards as well. That reminds me of like my husband. He goes to the gym at night, and there's a father and son that go to the gym the same time that he goes. And the other day he told me this story. They were in the gym together and they were just talk, like basically whenever they're in the gym they talk about things that happened in their day or any grievances they have with each other, blah blah blah. That particular day in the gym, my husband's so nosy. Why was he listening to the whole conversation? You know, he's supposed to be working out. He's there listening to them. Anyway, he said that the son told the dad, like, I just feel like you're too hard on me, and you don't need to push me as hard as you push me, because it just stresses me out, and I don't need all that. And the dad was just like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, you know, that's how you were receiving it. It's just that I really wanted you to do well. What's the best way for me to motivate you? How do you prefer to be spoken to, or like what would be more effective? And I'm just like, that's so healthy. These conversations afterwards where we just kind of share with our parents, like, I didn't really like this, but this is how I feel about it. And then for your parents to be like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. And, you know,
my parents would never say that to me.
Do you know what I mean?
My parents would never say that to me to this day.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just sitting down and say, I'm sorry. Like,
my parents would make a blatant mistake and still not say sorry.
Like,
they'll be like,
what is that?
Go do something. Go to your room.
Like, I'm sorry, but are you hungry is not an apology.
Yeah.
Dinner's ready is not an apology.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long
We're
as
on the same page as that. We're breaking the generational curses.
It's not an
please.
apology, and it's not healthy. We need to talk. We need to have discourse, discussions. We need to talk about these things. This is how we heal. We can't carry those things down to our kids. It's not right.
No.
I love that post that you put on your TikTok where you said that, you know, like, raising your daughter has helped to heal your inner child. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
There's certain things that just didn't sit right with me growing up that I don't do with her, or I've changed the way I do it.
Yeah,
or
totally.
Certain things that I wish my parents maybe would have done. My parents were great, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
But they were imperfect, as we all are. So there are things that I'm changing and fixing. And there are things that I experienced as a child, not because of my parents, just the world, that when I look at my little mini me, I need to fix, and I need to change, or I need to discuss, or I need to approach. My mom couldn't necessarily relate to everything that I experienced. I'm darker skinned. My mom's light skinned. So she never experienced colorism.
Yeah, my mom's white.
There we go. It's like your parents, my mom, she did what she could do with all that she knew. But there were things that I was experiencing and going through in life that she'd never been through and didn't even know how
existed.
She doesn't know how to talk to me about it. Yeah. So these are things that when I look at my daughter, she's a me, I can be like, okay, I know she's gonna deal with this. Yeah. That's waiting for her. And so I'm prepared. Yeah. I'm ready.
You know, my mom, I'm biracial, so not being able to, like, when you talk about your mom not understanding, that's like my whole life, like even from when I was young, and like even bring it back to like my hairstyles, like my mom not knowing how to do my hair, not being able, and like as much as she would try and as much as I appreciate her efforts and taking me to the different salons and everything that she does, and I love my mom and I respect her and I honor her, but mother-daughter relationships can be so complicated. Yeah. And with my second baby, I remember I really wanted a boy, like everyone, and even everyone on Instagram, they're like, oh, you have a girl, like we're team boy, and everybody was rooting for team boy, right? So I'm like, yeah, like I could have a boy. I want something different. And then I did a gender reveal and I found out I was having a girl. And for that night, I was like having gender disappointment because I'm like, oh, I really wanted a boy. You know, I wanted something different. I was kind of sad about it. But then after I sat with myself for a while and thought about it, it's almost like I was meant to have girls. Yeah. Because I'm meant to heal this mother-daughter generational curse that is in my family for several generations, because I went through what I went through. So there's so many things, like being a girl mom, that we know to do and that we look out for.
It's just natural.
Yeah. So I totally understand what you're coming from. Yeah.
But also though, this is something different. You're having another girl, but it's a different kind of girl.
I know. I have a white girl, and now I'm gonna have a black girl.
It's a completely new experience.
This is why it's like this was different. God made this like meant to happen. You know, like he was like, this is, if anybody's gonna do this, it's gonna be you. So I'm raising a white girl and I'm raising a black girl, but my white daughter thinks that she's black. Like, let's be real. One of her little friends was like, "You're a white girl," and she got so mad and started crying. And I'm like, oh no. What is happening here?
But you see, kids, that's because she looks at you and she thinks she's you. That's how kids are. That they look at their moms and they just think, well, that's me. Like,
and I think like I'm healing my inner child with her, and every time I see a black Barbie doll, I get the black Barbie doll, and I get the black storybook, and I get all the black girl stuff, and I'm like, isn't she so pretty? And my daughter's like, yeah. Yes. So I've like brainwashed her a little bit to like just think that she's a black girl. I'm like, black girls are the prettiest ones. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, and you're black too. And she's like, Shansia, like in the backseat of the car.
Oh my God, stop.
So literally.
That reminds me of Prince Harry listening to Shansia in his darkest days. I cannot.
That's my daughter. She comes home from grade 3. She's like, put on the Shansia. I had a rough day.
That is so funny, but that's cute. And I love that. And I think that's just where it comes full circle.
Yeah.
And this is what it's all about. I think it's not just about us anymore. When you become a mom, your whole purpose changes.
Yeah. And it's such a joyous thing too.
It's a joyous thing. Everything you do has so much meaning attached to it, because it's not just for me. Yeah. And I think before I had all these ambitions. I don't know what. I had all these ambitions. Yeah. And I think now I'm looking back on my ambitions before, and I'm just like, yeah, what was I working for? What was this for? What was it for? Yeah. I can't remember now. No. I can't remember now, because now what it's for is my child and my future child. Yeah. I don't know if it's a girl or boy, but whatever it is, already my number one priority. Yeah. I said to my husband yesterday, I feel like it's kind of unfair. There's all these people that have been in my life, loving me, being there for me, showing up for me, you know, and there's this human that's not even born, and they're already outranked. They've already outranked everybody else who's been in my life, who's been paying their dues. Yep. This unborn human is above you. Yeah. Already. Totally. Totally. So that's just how it is. And that's the way it should be, I think. And so, parting words, I want you to give just a bit of advice for any mom who is just looking to upgrade her life. She wants to buy a house. She wants to become financially stable. She wants transformation. What would you say?
So the best advice that I would give to any mom out there who wants to transform their life, who wants to go from being broke to being in the red to being in the green, is to understand, number one, like, curate your life around the lifestyle of your dream life. So sit down with yourself and think in the long term, what is the dream life? I think this task of like daydreaming is so underrated, but you need to do that, and you need to have clear goals set out. Yep. And then work it back from there. And if you don't already have your co-parenting or separation agreement legalized by the courts, that is the bare minimum. That is the bare minimum that you are going to need in order to financially level up, but also potentially like romantically down the line as well. When you meet somebody who is the absolute perfect man, know that no really good high quality man, I hate when I say that on a podcast, but is going to want to come into your life and come into a very messy situation, especially the men. They're not going to want to come into your life if your baby father's just showing up any time of day, coming in and out of your house. So you want to get that settled. And then also just focus on leading by example, especially if you have young girls, because they're always watching you. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It literally took me 1 year. Like, if you put the plan in place, it can transform in a very short period of time.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time today. It's baby time.
Thank you.
3 weeks away.
I know, baby's coming.
And you made the journey. You made the time. I'm so grateful. Girl. Thank you. Thank you so
Congratulations much. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And your new baby on the way.
Thank you so much. I am very happy about this. Thank you.